So let's try not to have our hearts beat this flat. Try to. Yeah. Okay, before we go, I'd like to say the Lord's Prayer. Anybody never heard? What's the first two words?
Lord, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, and power, forever. Amen.
Very soon after.
Must have been down high after this class. Too bad.
So about that one, just, not sure what's happening with her. Experiencing some sort of faintness, it looks like. Is that right, Deborah? Yeah. Bless her heart. Okay, here we go. Can anger be a form of love? First of all, let's define our term. What is it? What is anger? What do we mean when we use the word anger? Dictionary definition: a strong feeling of displeasure and usually antagonism aroused by a perceived wrong. Or two, rage, a violent and uncontrollable anger. Do we recognize this definition? The sound? Okay. Is there anything that we would add to it? And if there is, by the way, if we get to specific answers in a moment, I'm going to ask Deborah to bring a mic around. But for the moment, just we'll hang in there. So in other words, we pretty much recognize that definition of anger at this point. We're good to go with it? Okay? All right, good. Next question. In the scripture this morning about does God get angry, does Jesus get angry, do people get angry at God in the Bible, what does the scripture recommend we do with our anger? Were there any surprises? Any surprises about does God get angry, for example? Yes? No? Maybe? No? No surprise there. How about Jesus? Jesus gets angry. Any surprises there? No? Okay, we're good to go so far? All right. How about, do people get angry with God? Notice I didn't say should. I just said do they. And there's multiple attestation, not only in our own experience, but also in the Bible, that yeah, people get angry with God. And they speak it out loud. How about that? And then the Bible has some recommendations for us to remember that we sleep on our anger is one way of saying it. Jesus says, before you bring your gift to the altar, before you come to worship, and there's somebody that you have anger with, reconcile yourself with that person before you bring your gift to the altar. Can we all agree that we all get angry from time to time? Yes? Okay, yeah. We're good so far? That's pretty quiet. I'm sitting here, I'm the only one that gets angry. You know? The other question I have for you is, it feels to me like this is a very angry era, angry time we're living. Yeah?
Yes.
No kidding. Doesn't it feel like that? I mean, just out of control. For who knows? I'm not going to try to list the reasons for it, but it feels we're in a very angry time. where, Deborah, we need your help. What sorts of things make us angry? Yeah. Injustice. Pardon? Opinions. What else? Betrayal. I heard that word.
Sudden fear.
Pardon?
Sudden fear.
Sudden fear. Pardon? What was that? Rudeness. Got it. We can talk about that all day long. Yeah. What else? What else makes us angry? Death. Yeah. Exactly. What else? Not getting my own way. Thank you for being honest. Or to say that a little differently, life not turning out the way we think it should. Okay? Now, whom do we get angry with? Aha, interesting. That first came up. That's the first one. We get angry at ourselves. Interesting. Why? What do we get angry? What do we get angry with ourselves for?
We're allowing ourselves to get angry.
We're allowing ourselves to get angry. It's a double whammy here. And then guilt comes along. So it's a triple whammy. Right. So we get angry with ourselves.
We're disappointed.
For what?
We're disappointed.
Or disappointed. Yeah, and that's an interesting question too. What is the line between disappointment, the gray area between disappointment and anger? And are we being totally honest all the time about that? What else?
When I'm wrong.
With the what?
When I'm wrong.
When I'm wrong, yeah. Again, hear the self-honesty that takes. Our choices, sometimes we regret or we're angry with ourselves because of our own choices. Yeah, okay.
Or our children's choices.
Or our children's choices. Now we're getting angry with others. Or no, then we're back to angry at ourselves because we're the parent. I forgot. That's right. A double trap called the parent trap. Right. Okay. We get angry with ourselves. Who else do we get angry with? God. Exactly. Why do we get angry with God? Yeah? Yeah. Illness.
Sometimes he's silent.
Sometimes what?
Sometimes God is silent.
Right. Sometimes I feel like God, and like in the scripture, hid my face. God's not there. God's silent. We can't find God. That's an amazing one. We could spend a whole sermon on just that one right there. Why else might we get angry with God?
Natural disaster.
Yeah, natural disasters that hurt innocent people. Or not so innocent people.
Things that seem unfair.
Things that seem unfair. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Really? Are you sure? Okay. Now, why do we get angry with others around us? What angers us about what others do?
Because they're idiots.
Because they're idiots. Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. Enough of this being nice. Let's just get right down to it. Yeah.
They make us feel inferior.
They make you feel inferior. Exactly. That's part of the angry times too, isn't it? Yeah.
They hurt us.
They hurt us. They betray us, somebody said earlier. What else?
Also, is your expectations.
What's that?
Don't take ownership.
Don't take ownership of their own mistakes. Responsibility. Absolutely. What about the other one? Or?
Expectations.
Expectations. Ours of them?
Yeah, yes.
Interesting. Expectations.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Expectations of our own actions.
Yep.
Right? And those of others that hurt us.
Yep. No kidding. Expectations. Wow. There's another whole sermon. Thank you. Yeah. Because so often we don't talk about those expectations.
We discover that things aren't quite what we were told or we thought.
Yeah, things aren't quite what we wish for or we think should really ought to happen, should happen. They come out a little or a lot differently. And that's a pretty profound learning experience as we get older. That's a lot of wisdom in exploring that topic. Okay. What do people typically tend to do with anger? Some people are, and some people are going, you people! interesting. Have you never noticed that some people go and say, I'm fine, I'm fine? Or what else? What is the other thing that people often do with their anger? Lash out. What? Take it out on others. What else? Suppression. That's where I was going there. Suppression, push it down. What happens, as Beth said, what happens when you suppress it? The flat turns black. On the inside. So what's your tell? You know what it me when I get angry, you know what it is? I get red in the face. People have always told me that. I always say when you're angry, you get red in the face. So what other people? What's your tell?
I cry.
Cry. Yeah. Okay, what else?
Okay.
What was that?
Self-medicate. Self-medicate.
Self-medicate. Right, exactly. But anger, people often self-medicate in a lot of ways today. Shopping, addictions, all kinds of stuff that they do. Yeah. I remember sometimes after council meetings at the former church, I would go and chop wood outside the house. Imagine certain decisions.
You never need to do that, do you?
Never. Michael, remind me. What else do people do?
Vent to other people, they vent.
Vent. And what's the other side of that same thing? One side is venting, what's the other side? Withdraw. And what happens when you do that? You're not looking where you're going, right? Right.
I was inspired by, I think what Viktor Frankl said, and probably many other people said, that what you can control is the way you react.
What you can control. Is that what you're saying?
You can't control what others do,
No.
generally, except for the king on others.
Right.
It's how you react to it.
Whether you choose to suppress it or whether you choose to process it.
It's a very moving point that Viktor Frankl said. It was, if anybody didn't know, in Auschwitz, and has a very moving book called
Oh, he wrote a number of meaning,
Answer for Me.
answer work.
Fabulous story.
Yeah, so there are many things that we cannot control, but there are certain things that we can control that have to do with our own response, essentially. Okay, that actually, yes, ma'am.
Even the definition to me is more about things that we've learned to associate with anger.
Yes.
Why we're anger, which is more of an emotion that we can't control, but in the definitions, violence,
Yep.
rage, which are to me learned things we've learned to.
Yeah, so there's, you're making a great point. There's the kind of anger that comes, as perhaps also as Steve said, that's sort of just automatic, sort of a bodily response to threat, for example, or fear, or whatever it is, so it just comes up. But then there's also the learned responses about the way we react to others, or react to ourselves, or self-medicate, or whatever we do. Those are the things we learn. Is that fair?
Yeah, and some of them I think even become part of our definition of rage, which doesn't have to be our Bible, but anger does.
Right. Yeah, we get angry. It doesn't necessarily turn into rage.
In different cultures, we just have a process.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Two different cultures process anger differently. That's right.
Or frustration that would lead to anger.
Yep. What the cultural norms are. Yes.
We were watching baseball yesterday, and the pitchers kept hitting the Cubs players 3 times. Batters got hit
The baseball game.
in a baseball game, and both teams were ready to fight. And I thought, revenge, war, it can really quickly get out of control.
Yeah, very quickly get out of or into rage. It's
Right.
totally ungoverned by what Jay was talking about. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing how quickly that happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Henry.
I think a lot of times it's sort of the opposite of acceptance. You can accept injustice, you get very angry. You can accept it. There's a great deal that you can accept or you can accept injustice. To me, injustice is a very key point.
Yeah.
Versus acceptance.
Right. He's making a contrast between acceptance and injustice. And this is a really interesting place to go. If I heard you correctly, what you were saying is that if you just simply accept injustice, it leads to anger. Is that fair? Is that true? You say what?
If you cannot accept it.
If you can, then if you cannot accept it, then it has to be articulated. And is that correct?
Then you're very angry.
Yeah, yeah. Then you need to take action. Is that true? Okay.
What does accept mean?
I think it comes from, and again, it's a huge question. It comes from asking yourself, being very honest with yourself, first of all, and then asking yourself, what do I really want here? What is it that I really want in this situation? We'll try to come back to that. So thank you. Okay. Now I'm going to move along here to the next thing. So I want to use this. I want your help here. I'm going to make a statement, and I'm going to ask you to help me write down some reasons why this statement is true. So the first statement is, anger cannot be a form of love. How might that statement be true? Okay.
Because anger to me is in a place of fear and hurt. And if you're in a place of fear and hurt, you're not in a place of love.
Okay.
The two, in my mind,
Go ahead.
go together.
Anger is a place of hurt and fear, yes?
Yes. Which would be when you step away from
Okay.
love, which would be God.
Okay. Thank you. One.
It seems to me that it's also a place of judgment, so it allows a little room
Place
for
of judgment.
curiosity.
Yeah, place of judgment, which says that I'm better than you are. Fundamentally, yes.
Anger is selfish.
Anger is selfish.
It destroys or tears out somebody's essential good,
Somebody's what?
essential goodness.
Tears out someone's essential goodness. All of these are great points. Each one could be a discussion in itself.
I think most anger is unaware,
Is unaware.
so awareness is going to
Not, as in not self-aware, not
play.
not self-aware.
So, Peter, Amir, anger can be often ignorant, reckless, and dangerous, as an example would be road rage.
Yep. That road rage, she was using that example. Ignorant, reckless, and what was the other one?
Dangerous.
Dangerous. No kidding.
Anger is a force of separation and rejection.
Where's it? Where is it?
Okay.
Oh, great, Bertie.
Anger is a force of separation.
Force of
and
separation. Right. Interesting.
Now that we've written all this, can I go back to the beginning and question the anger cannot be a form of love? I'm not sure I agree.
Okay, that's fine, but I just, right, hang in there one second, because we're just talking about this statement, and then we're gonna go to the next statement. And I think, then, hold on, and give it right back to her once we go to the next one, because I think you're gonna see the next one and where you're going. David?
Well, I was going to say that we talk about anger, we talk about fear, and we talk about anger, but we always forget that we're supposed to live in the fear of God. And that's not necessarily a bad so I'm concerned that, you know, God can be angry. Jesus was angry. And those are forms of love for us.
So hold that thought, because I can go right on the next page. Okay, let's move to the next page, because in this statement it says, anger can be a form of love.
Form or
You can choose whatever you like.
Go back to what Henry was saying. It seems to me that anger brought on by injustice, or where do you want to start? What do you want to name? Isn't that a form of love?
Anger on behalf of injustice, on behalf of justice, I should say, is a form of love. Okay, you did it?
I can't even remember, it was maybe about 5 years ago, I took the youth group on a retreat, and the entire focus of the weekend was talking about anger. And we talked about how Jesus could get extremely angry, and he was not the teenager that you always wanted in your house. But you know, it's this idea of righteous anger is good, but what we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years is in our society and out of our leaders is a whole lot of self-righteous anger.
Okay.
Not necessarily biblically based righteous anger.
So righteous versus self-righteous anger. Okay. Peter.
I don't quite know how to say this, Peter, but if you love someone,
Here we go.
it's in a loving relationship, there's going to be anger at times. Okay?
Okay.
It's part of a loving relationship.
There's anger at times in a loving relationship. Okay, good. What else? Yes, Cindy.
It can save a child from harm.
Okay, so you can be angry with a child they run out in the street, even though you aren't really angry with a child, or you just save someone. What else?
I can see anger as a friend if you can sit with it. So there's usually when I'm angry or when I feel emotion, you can just stop and sit there. Either a lesson to learn, or there's someone to forgive, or I've misjudged reality in some way or another.
Great point. So you can sit with it even if it isn't helpful. Or what?
Or mainly just that if I'm angry, it's because I didn't get what I want. And very often that's my thing, not
There's your thing. Okay. Sit with it, and then there's some self-honesty. Yeah, we'll come back to that point. Okay. Any other ways that you'd like to say that anger can be a form of love? Okay, I think that what Andrew said is a nice segue into where I want to go next with this, because I'd like to follow a bit, bring it home, if you will, by taking a look at a practice of what we can do with our anger. And this is following the Psalm 4, verse 4, which says, when you're disturbed or you're angry, don't sleep on it. But spend the time doing what you need to do with your anger. And so, here's the thing. What's the first thing that you could do with your anger? When you're feeling angry, something has happened. What's the first thing you might do? You might not be able to. But I think what Andrew was getting at, what's the first thing you can do? Breathe. Whatever gets breathe. What else?
Reflect.
Okay. Read. Walk. I heard reflect. I'm going to come back to that. What else was that?
Slow down.
Slow down.
Go to the Bible.
Go to the Bible.
Do not speak.
Or
Save my life.
All right, let's make that specific now. Here's a second question for you. Following exactly these things, however, do I absolutely know what I'm aiming at is true? Do I absolutely know that? Ask yourself that question. The classic example of that is, you're driving along and suddenly somebody cuts off behind you, half runs you off the road, zooms off down the road, and you get really angry. And the classic example is, suppose it's a person who's trying to get his wife to the hospital because she's in a meeting. Or something's happened and they have to get there. That's the classic example of, do I absolutely know what I'm angry at is true? And one of the things I think we all discover over time when we take a moment with that is to say, I don't always absolutely know what I am angry at is true. I'm angry. Something doesn't feel right. But what I'm angry about may not actually be true. And the second question, do I absolutely know who I am angry at? Sometimes, for example, you're angry at someone because they told you the truth about yourself. Who are you angry at? You're really angry at yourself. Sometimes you're just angry because of the times and because life isn't turning out. Who are you angry at? Maybe God. Sometimes you're angry at yourself, but what? You're just taking on other people's stuff. Right? Ever seen that happen? You're just taking on other people's stuff. You're really angry at somebody else, but you can't admit it.
Just now.
Thank you, Wendell. So, who do I absolutely know? Do I absolutely know who I am angry at? And then finally, what do I really want here? What am I really here for right now in this? And it might be, as Henry suggested, there's an injustice and I need to speak out. I can't accept that. Okay? It might be that I really need to do something different with this relationship than I'm currently doing. What else?
Something inevitable that you have to accept.
There's some things that in relationship one does accept.
And you can still feel anger.
That's correct. You can still feel anger, but you acknowledge to yourself that you are making the choice and therefore you're responsible for that choice. Even though somebody else may be.
Is violence or a violent response ever appropriate?
I cannot answer that question for anybody.
It's a question we all have to deal with.
Exactly. What does defending yourself mean? What does defending your country mean? Pardon? I'm sorry, the question was, is there a response that is violent or justified?
We knew a nurse at the Children's Hospital in Salt Lake who had plates that she bought, and she bought plates at tag sales or whatever, and kept them in her trunk, and when she had a bad day at the hospital, when bad things happened, she would throw the plates in a place that's against a wall, brick wall.